Since Rabbi Archon was unable to be with us on these high holidays, it was a perfect opportunity to find out what the future holds. And so I asked my colleagues, the incoming senior rabbis of Sinai Temple, if we could do a short dialogue in which I will ask them some of the things they're working on and some of the things they plan, and we'll get a sense of what sorts of things the synagogue has in store, although there is much more than we will be able to cover in this short compass. So let me ask each of you, tell me something that you're working on and that the synagogue is doing that you're excited about. Pick whatever you like.
Sounds good. So thank you. It's beautiful to be here in the sanctuary after many years in Family Minyan, and also a beautiful community. And one thing that we've been working on, with your permission actually, I'm just going to take us back to January 2019, before the pandemic hit. I had the opportunity to be the conservative rabbi on an APAC trip with rabbinical students, cross-denomination, conservative, Orthodox, and Reform. And there I was blown away, because what I saw there were rabbis speaking to each other about Israel, the importance of Israel, that all had different political views, but understood the value of a Jewish home. I fast forward to May of 2020, during the Israel-Gaza crisis, and unfortunately there was a letter that was written, that was signed by 100 rabbinical students that was critical of Israel at that moment. And with your permission, I was on a plane actually, and I said, can I respond to this? And you said, absolutely. And it was in the Jewish Journal, and it got a lot of pats on the back, but that wasn't enough. We had to deal action. And thankfully, with the support of Sinai Temple and the Israel Center, which created over 15 years ago, we are about to launch in January from Sinai Temple, the Sinai Temple Israel Center Rabbinical School Fellowship, which will work with 9 rabbinical schools across the country, Orthodox, Reform, and Conservative, about the model that we have here at Sinai Temple, that I and Rabbi Guzik have learned through Rabbi Wolpe's mentorship, of how to have Israel discourse, nuance, that will allow leaders from our seminaries to be the future rabbis in this country. It's just a small preview, and I also want to, I see Jen Zakowski here, but her father, blessed memory, Larry Weinberg. When I heard his story about what it means to never be too late, for us, that's this moment for the next generation of rabbis. And Sinai Temple Israel Center will lead the way in allowing rabbis never to be too late again.
I just want to say, I don't know if you know how extraordinary it is, unprecedented, I think, that one program, especially about something as complex as Israel, can be accepted by Reform, Orthodox, and conservative rabbinical schools all at once. When Rabbi Sherman, I got a steady drumbeat of this school accepted, this school accepted, this school accepted. I was amazed. And honestly, that is entirely due to Rabbi Sherman's efforts. It's a remarkable, remarkable achievement. So, Rabbi Guzik.
It's really hard to beat that. What I will say, I'll mention 2 different opportunities that we have here at Sinai Temple, one of which we will speak more in depth on Kol Nidre, and that is the launching this past year of our Sinai Temple Mental Health Center, supported by the Schiff Rosen Family Foundation. Over the pandemic, as well with Rabbi Wolpe's permission, I took the opportunity to get my master's in marriage and family therapy. One of the reasons why is because, of course, I wanted to further the counseling skills and the depth of my relationships with all of you. But the other is the fact that I learned time and time again the long wait lists and the long wait time in the various counseling centers around Los Angeles, around the country, because of the mental health crisis within each family, within each community, regardless of faith. Wherever we sit, wherever we are struggling with something. And sometimes the first place a person enters to face that crisis or face that struggle is through the doors of the sanctuary, through the doors of a faith center. And so what we decided with our incredible board of directors is if people are walking through the doors of a sanctuary facing some kind of mental health struggle, then they need to have a place that embraces them through that mental health struggle. And so we hired licensed clinical social worker Carolyn Hoffman to direct our center. She works with children at Sinai Akiba Academy, at our Sinai Temple Religious School. She meets with congregants on a daily basis. And I'm thrilled to share more about that on Kol Nidre. Time for the next thing? Okay. Part 2. And I'm so happy that, and such a surprise, wonderful surprise, that Rabbi Michal Morse-Camille is here. I don't mean to embarrass you. She is the director of our Beit Bracha program, which is our program in our religious school in which children with special needs are mainstreamed from kindergarten through 7th grade. So let me go back a few years. When I started, maybe it's my 2nd or 3rd year here, I received a phone call from one of our B'nai Mitzvah families, and they said, listen, we have a requirement here at Sinai Temple for X amount of years to be in religious school education or day school education in order to have a bar bat mitzvah here. But my child with special needs, I don't understand. How can you not have a program or have a religious school education for my child? Doesn't every Jewish child deserve to have Jewish education? When you hear that kind of question, what's the answer? Of course. And by the way, that's one of the reasons why we want to continue here at Sinai Temple, because the answer is always yes. Of course, there's a need, and Rabbi Wolpe says, yes, then go and do it. And so, incredibly so, we've now had Beit Bracha part of our synagogue with the support of the Los Angeles Jewish Federation and the support of Looking Beyond and our sisterhood and our men's club and several individual donors. And it's been highly successful, mainstreaming children with all different kinds of abilities within our religious school. But the reason why I wanted to speak about it this morning is because I received another phone call this past year, and the conversation went as follows. Well, my child just had his bar mitzvah. Now what? And I said, you are absolutely correct. Now what? So we are launching in October Beit Bracha 2.0 for children, adolescents, 13 years and older, who will be mainstreamed in our high school program, our supplementary education program for teenagers. We continue to open up doors here at Sinai Temple.
So by now you've understood that my job basically is to sit in my office and say yes. That's what I do. They say things, I say, yes, you go, do that. And then I take credit. It's a wonderful position here at Sinai. The part of the reason that we are able to do this is not just that we have wonderful clergy, but we also have wonderful staff, really terrific, starting with our executive director, Jessica Green, who is in the back there, who makes this possible. Yesterday, I don't know if he's here today, our former executive director, Howard Lessner. Oh, there he is, Howard Lessner. We've been very, very blessed with the people that we've had to look to help us, our heads of school as well, and the other clergy, and obviously, if we were not so blessed with our congregation. And I just want to say, this is probably off the record, but it's being taped, so. Yesterday, we were talking about how many people would come. And I have to say, I was blown away by the fact that with everything, over 2,000 people were in the building yesterday, which for first day Rosh Hashanah. And we expect more for Yom Kippur, and that is a beautiful tribute to the community and to the desire of people to come back together. And over the years, what has happened at Sinai is things kept getting added and added and added, but they didn't fade away. Like Atid got added, but it got stronger. And the Israel Center got added, but it got stronger. And now Beit Bracha got added, and now it's getting stronger. So the thing I think that we should be most proud of is that the initiatives that we've undertaken haven't fallen by the wayside, which so often happens. You know, people have great ideas and they do it for a week or a month or a year, and then it's gone. That has not been our experience. Friday Night Live is still going strong 25 years later. That is a beautiful thing, and it really is a tribute to this congregation and this community and our leadership. And so for that, I'm very grateful. And also, I got lucky in lots and lots of ways. But if you were here yesterday when Rabbi Ziegler described how I, quote unquote, found her, here is the real story. So she was prepared for this long interview when she called because she thought I was going to ask her all sorts of questions. What I knew that she apparently did not know is one intern applied. So
I haven't signed my contract yet.
So my question, so she was shocked when I said to her, when can you start? It wasn't like I was looking at 30 resumes on my desk. I just said, when can you start? And I figured, okay, if it doesn't work out, she'll be an intern for a year and it won't work out. And here we are 17 years later. And I just got lucky because then she married Rabbi Sherman, which, by the way, I had very little to do with. And so I was very, very blessed. And when people say, wow, it's amazing how you cultivated your successors, she just appeared. What can I tell you? And that's just the best way. I'm going to talk about how that happened on I think it's Ziegler, the Ziegler sermon. So if you really want to know how that happened, be here at Ziegler, and I will tell you underlying reason why all of this came about. But there you go.
Yeah, I want to say two things. Hello. There we go. Two things. First, actually, I was at Sinai Temple. My sister was the educational director there, where Rabbi Gerald Wolpe, Rabbi Wolpe's father, was, and you were there for a scholar in residence, and I was visiting, and it was during this, I don't even know if you know this story, and I was there visiting.
Like I don't know anything.
Yes. I was there visiting my sister, and I went up to Rabbi Wolpe and said, I'm actually looking for a job, because I'm going to be moving out to California, and your response was, who do we have to kill? So, and it worked. But that was many, many years ago. I just want to add one other thing that I think we're working on, because when you talk about what it means to add on and not just doing something in single moments, something that we light from darkness, which was last year, when, of course, we didn't have these crowds for various reasons that we're not going to talk about. But last Rosh Hashanah, today, after services ended, Rabbi Guzik and I took a walk in the neighborhood because we knew that our community needed to gather. And we literally knocked on doors of churches, our interfaith neighbors, and each one of them opened their doors to us. And then we realized that we have to know our neighbors, and even as importantly, our neighbors need to know us. And throughout the year, we've developed unbelievable relationships. In fact, 2 days ago, I emailed Father Martinez from St. Paul saying, thank you for your kindness last year. And he wrote back, I'm actually about to reach out because this is the next thing that we need to work on together. And for some of you who were here during when Ukraine crisis started, people were doing things, but people weren't gathering as faith communities. And we did it, and there's a picture on the bima of people that look so different from each other, different headdresses and robes, because they realized that we're talking to the same people. We're talking to the same God. And that's one thing that we're really going to continue, and not just be a one-shot thing. And one thing that happened a couple weeks ago that was unbelievable was, as you might know, I'm passionate about sports and faith at the same time. It's possible. And we had a former NBA player here, Enes Kanter, a Turkish Muslim who had just gone to Israel, and he visited the Kotel, the Dome of the Rock, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, speaking to the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim communities in different languages to 2 million followers on Instagram. And he came here, and it was through the Muslim Coalition for America. If you're not familiar with them, look them up, the MCA. And when he came here, I was asked, can you gather Muslim, Jewish, and Christian children in Weinberg Gym to simply play basketball together? And Rabbi Wolpe has a lot on his plate, and I said, just stop by.
I said yes.
You said yes.
I said yes.
But instead of 2 minutes later, 2 hours later, you were still at the table, and I said, what are you doing here? And your jaw dropped, and you said, this guy is for real. And interfaith relations, and actually somebody just said this the other day to me, it's not interfaith. It's multi-faith. And we need to have multi-faith unity, because when we're multi-faith, each of our faiths are as strong as the other, but the multi brings people together. And I just really are looking forward to bringing those communities, when we do the Orden Family Friday Night Live, the Unity Shabbat, that's what it's about. It's not just about Jews standing on the bima, it's about using this sacred space to bring multi-faiths together.
So we also think that this is such an opportunity to have our mentor here. And so we wanted to ask you if you could look back 26 years at the start of your rabbinate here as senior rabbi of Sinai Temple. What kind of advice would you give to the newbies?
Do you know that, this is not the advice, but do you know that story about the 3 envelopes? Somebody takes over a desk and the CEO before him says, listen, I'm leaving you 3 envelopes. At the first crisis, open the first one. At the second crisis, open the second one. At the third crisis, open the third one. So the first crisis, he opens it, it says, take responsibility. So he takes responsibility. He has another crisis, he opens it, it says, blame someone else. So he blames someone else. He has another crisis, he opens it, and it says, prepare 3 new envelopes. So I mean, I have a lot, there's a lot actually that I could say to this. But I think what I would say, the principal thing that I would say, and it's sort of related to what I'm going to talk about on Yom Kippur, is that you know how people say that the days are long but the years are short, which is true. What I would say is that the heartaches are acute, but in the long term, the joy is overwhelming. It's really true. The moments where you're frustrated or angry or hurt or whatever it is, they're very intense. They're very intense because the rabbinate is one of those jobs where the person is not separate from the job. Nobody says in the supermarket, oh, look, there goes the lawyer. But everybody says, look, there goes the rabbi. Because you are your job, and therefore, things that people say to you, both beautiful things and difficult things, you tend to take in very deeply. And so there are moments that are really difficult. But when you look back on the totality of it, honestly, I can't, like, if somebody were young and they had any interest, I would tell them this is a beautiful and a wonderful thing to do with your life. I can't imagine having done something that would be more fulfilling, and I think and I hope that when you are my age in 70 years, when you're my age, that you'll feel the same way, because the truth is, I mean, we all know we've shared like difficult moments, but overall, even the things you said now, I mean, where else would you get a chance to create a program that would help so many people, or a program that would reach out to so many people? It's really an incredible, incredible privilege. That's what I'd say. So thank you.
Shana Tova.
And also, you get to hear Marcus Feldman sing every week. How about that?